Hey, how y'all doing tonight, my YouTubers and friends, the Flash fam? I hope you're all doing as well as I am. We have a really good guy with us tonight, Aaron, GTAO Vlogs. He's a fellow YouTuber and gold prospector from the Mojave Desert of California. So don't go away. You know what I'm going to say next. We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. Tuesday Night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday Night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday Night Hangout Live. With your hosts, and Marvin, and Jess, and Dano. Tuesday Night Hangout Live is a Flash in Your Pan production.
Kabam! I was typing. Sorry.
It's all right, Dano. It's all right.
Welcome, folks.
Hey, want to get some hellos out of the way, brother?
Got to, man. We got to.
That's right. That's right.
And I just want to bring it out right now. Our greatest moderator we ever had has changed his name.
Yeah.
Now, dead.
If you weren't such a Facebook Nazi, you would have known that earlier last week.
Sorry, I just learned right now, and I'm just as happy.
Earlier in
Without Facebook. How's that?
Nah.
Nah.
Welcome, Jaron.
Yeah, welcome, Jaron.
And I
see Topcast dropped by to visit us this evening, and Chef Barry.
Well, let's give credit where credit's due. Our Susan Hamilton was uno in the chat. And then we had,
Barry look. Far behind her.
No, right there, buddy. And the killer chef of the rivers in the Motherlode.
That's right. I got to get out there and get some of that good cooking sometime here.
Hey, I'm looking forward to that trip in October in a year from now.
I'm telling you, guys, we're serious about too. Todd, Chef, we're serious about Octoberish.
Yeah, buddy. I've been counting my quarters. I have about 500 worth right here.
You guys are gaining the whole damn crew next time.
Bam!
Bam, he says. Look at them quarters.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, that's a lot of change I've been saving. I don't spend it. I just divide it up. I look for silver and key dates.
And look, Todd pulled a Jeff. Come on, let's go.
All right. We're Slim. Hi, Darren McKinney. How you doing? We have Brad all the way from Tasmania. Hi, Sarah and the rest of the family if you're near.
Oh, Diana, Jesse had to run off for a little while. He might be back, but welcome to the show.
Yes, thanks for joining us, Diana, all the way from Texas, the Lone Star State. He went down to Bowling Green, pick up his daughter. And Teddy C's in the house.
Oh, there's Nugget Brain just stepped in the door.
The AU family prospecting, John. I'm gonna butcher his last name.
Did you get Center of the Earth Mining out there yet? Welcome, Center of the Earth Mining.
Carrie's here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Center of the Earth Mining. I think that's his name, right, Aaron? Terry?
Yes, that's correct.
Phew. David Villa and our good friend Jeff Miller, Gold Pro Unlimited and Outdoors with Nick. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think Nick lives in Pennsylvania, maybe.
Got Tom Sawyer TV just stepped in.
I think he's having, if it's the right Nick, he's having trespasser issues after his, it's a plant, ginseng.
Oh,
And
really?
he has a creek on his property. Hint, 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 hint. Um, Maybe we could prospect it. Hint, hint, hint. Our friend Brian from the Maine Gold Slayer, the Gold Slayer of Maine. Oh man, if you had Facebook, Dano, you could see his cleanouts. I mean, nice, nice. We'll have to get to Maine. Let me tell you that. I know,
I'm headed there,
Brian.
buddy. I'm headed to Maine in
There,
September.
no, that's Vermont.
Or Vermont, I'm sorry, headed to Vermont.
But I know Maine, New England has no gold. Neither does Ohio or Utah. So,
We don't have no gold. We stole it all from Canada.
no, they gave it to us. We didn't steal nothing, but they're not getting it back, huh?
They could have gave a little more. I mean, come on, really?
Yeah, some bigger stuff, huh?
Help a brother out. Yeah, a couple chunks here.
HD Shovelhead, hey Ed and Judy. I know Judy's at home, Ed's at work.
Oh, you see who just showed up, Ed?
Dwight, no.
Ron for the hills.
Oh, me. Run for the hills. You know, I was gonna have his logo in here, but it got, when I took it down small enough to use in my template, you couldn't even read it. So I'm gonna have to play with it because I was talking to Aaron about it yesterday. Ron makes a really good sluice with the Dream Mat, and I can't really compare it to Brother Joseph's box either. They're two different types of animals you can use in two different types of situations. I love them both. Um, Let me see, Top Cat, thanks for joining us. Josh Book, hopefully be our drone captain for us sometime, Dano.
No, okay.
He's from that area, the Swank West property.
I see.
I believe his family has actually a different river on their property. He's been dredging.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Maybe he'll need some company sometime.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hey, brother Luke Duke, how you doing? And Teddy C, welcome everybody and all those who are lurking. Hey, Eric Carter, how are you, fellow prospector?
Hey, Eric.
I'm doing well. I'm among friends and family. How could I not be? Hey, Bill Marsh, Ohio Relic Hunter. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Excellent, excellent. What, Jeff? Hmm.
He's catching on to our little hms.
Oh, Bob Dip lurking in
Lurker
there.
Go, Bob. We got to have a lurker or two.
Thanks for being here, Bob, as always. Hey, Kingston 1816, welcome.
But while you're lurking, smack that thumbs up button, would you?
That's right. And smack it. And if you do the thumbs down, someone else do it too, because 2 equals 1.
Right. We get paid that way. Dang it. 2 dislikes make 1 like. So if you're going to do it in pairs, people, okay?
That's right. That's right. Still at work, feel bad for me. I was at
lurker too.
I would if I wasn't sweating my ganoids off in like I know Aaron's gonna laugh at me
Dan Zoller, what's up, buddy?
because there was probably like 120 at his house today, but it was close to 90 and humidity was off the chart. I'll take dry heat. I've been in both. I'll take dry heat over this humid, humid stuff any day of the week. Hey, Dan Zoller, Dredging Sucks. Dan Zoller's in the house. And we have our friend Jack Tucker from Gold Fever Radio with us. Thank you for joining us.
I've seen him in there.
Yeah. Oh, American Woodland Relics. Welcome, friend. Welcome. Ah, Jeff Othworth. Glad to meet you. A fellow OSPA member, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. Excellent. Kent Fackler.
Yeah, Kent Fackler. Haven't seen you on in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen you for a bit. Kent, are you coming to Gold Rush? You and your brother coming Gold Rush? You and Scott
Surely
gonna
you
be there? They've been like hardcore Athens LDMA camp, Dano. It's like
really?
hardcore. Which being an LDMA member, I need to get my fanny up there, and take advantage of some of that Michigan gold that was also taken or accepted from Ontario. Not sure what the beeping are you talking about?
Hey, these people keep backing out. I might get a good camping spot, huh?
Yeah, well, you'll get one anyway, Dano. Paul Wheeler, welcome. Well, I know you guys aren't here to see this. Maybe Dano.
No, they ain't here to see me either.
But definitely not this.
They want to see our guests.
And Cheech ain't here right now.
Cheech ain't here right now. He's out cheeching somewhere.
So with no more further ado, Aaron, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing great.
Excellent.
How are y'all doing?
Pardon me?
Living the dream.
Living the dream. That's right.
I'm watching the screen here, and there is a delay, right? Okay.
Oh yeah.
The chat's up to time. Your chat's on time. Just don't watch the show.
Yeah, it's best if since.
Much better. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Hold on just a sec before we get started. You can see right now.
Got to turn my duck down. I forgot.
It's only 82 degrees right now, so it's pretty nice.
That's in your house, though.
I know. I was doing that.
Put that thing outside.
It was about 105 today outside, and it was nice and dry.
Well, Patrick Moore sets his air conditioning at about 77, 78. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
How you doing, Ron Adams? Sorry.
I wanted to thank the Flash in Your Pan community. I wanted to thank you, Ed and Dano, for having me on and for just having the channel and for what you guys do for the whole community and all the dedication and the time and effort and that you guys put into it all. I just wanted to thank you and thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure having you, Aaron. I've been wanting you on for, probably a year now, so it's about time. Gee whiz. I know you're a busy man. You have a lot of irons in the fire like a lot of us do. And you have the YFRC, you have your website, you have your YouTube channel, your out in the Mojave all the time, even during the summer, aren't you? Working at night and stuff, right?
Yeah, sometimes. That's right. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I am. I'm I'm debating right now about whether or not to go out again to the area where I was in my last video. Um, the the thing is, it's pretty tough waiting out that hot part of the day, you know. So the afternoon and the night and during the night, it's beautiful. It's perfect temperature to dig. It's great.
Oh yeah, and
But
if
it's
it's a,
that
I
it's
was
that eight or
just
ten
gonna,
hours. You
sorry, I just was gonna say, and if it's a clear night, the stars in the desert are amazing.
Well, I bet so, because you don't have all that light bleeding in.
Right, and don't have all that light pollution from the city and stuff, and uh, the the Milky Way and just the sky in general. It's just an awesome sight, Dano. And
it's fantastic being out there, you know. So it's about a 3 hour drive from where I'm at now, and it's hard for me to make that drive and just come back. But I'm either going to go out again and work in the afternoon, into the evening, into the night, and then sleep and work in the morning and then leave. Or what I really probably should do is start heading towards the mountains. I've been talking about it, and you know, there's a whole bunch of guys watching the show. There's a whole bunch of guys who have their own channels who know a lot more about the placer in the middle of California, Northern California. You know, I don't know, Idaho, Montana. I've been talking to one of my friends from the Will Detect channel, Marty. He lives up in Northern California. And what I really need to be doing during this time of year is going to some of these other climates and doing the best I can, you know, with maybe some sniping, some crevicing. Recently, I just got a pretty nice wetsuit so I can get in the water and a weight belt and, you know, get down in the water and do some of that type of sort of prospecting, you know, with limited gear. So I'm
Sniping.
open for suggestions.
uh, go out night prospecting with just a knife. That's you have to build your own dry washer and everything out of a barrel cactus or something. I'm just messing. I'm sorry. Hey, brother Joseph, how you doing?
Bob's here, down east detecting and prospecting.
Oh, Square Nails Bob. How's his name go?
SpongeBob Square Nail.
SpongeBob Square Nail. Hey, I know Bob. Square nails matter.
I found some square nails. I'm finally getting my detector down. I'm new to this whole ordeal.
Hey, the tiger. Uh, have you ever made your own dry washer, Aaron?
No, never have thought about making one out of a barrel cactus either.
Well, there's an idea for a video right there.
Now the dry washer I have is a Keen 140. I'm trying to watch the chat here as well, but I can't really.
Oh, believe me, I missed ton of the chat, and sorry, my friends.
Yeah, I can't really at the moment. I can't really watch it at the same time.
Well,
I asked quite a few people before I bought my dry washer, and the debate was between a Keen 151 or a Keen 140, and those were the two that were most recommended. And I decided to go with the Keen 140 because it's a little bit more easily manageable for one guy. And, you know, 2 people can feed that machine, maybe 3 people, if you were really running it to the optimum speed and all that, you know. But no, I've not made a dry washer, and I've had my dry washer now for probably about 4 years.
You said you also have a dredge also? What's the list of the equipment you use the most?
It's the dry washer and the metal detector. I have a Tesoro Super Lobo prospecting metal detector, type metal detector, and the dry washer. My river mining has been very limited. You know, my dad and I do have 3 claims on a river, but our work there has been pretty limited because mostly by the U.S. Forest Service. They have prevented us from doing a lot of what we would like to do. And
Right.
they've also prevented us from working at times when we were ready to work. There was some kind of reason why we couldn't that they came up with. So our work there has been pretty limited. But in several of my videos that you do see my dad and myself working with our recirculating high banker. And we've done quite a bit of work with that recirculating high banker, and sort of it's evolved into a pretty good machine. As far as recirculating really sucks, you know.
Oh, I bet the water gets muddy, and then you have to worry more about flotation loss, and oh, I bet. And then you lose water while you're going, and water's not easy to come by in the middle of nowhere in the Mojave.
Yeah, this is not in the Mojave. This is in the Sierra Nevadas.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, recirculating is sometimes necessary, but we have a river claim. We're right next to the river, and you can see it in our videos. You can see it in some of my early videos from about a year and a half ago.
Right.
We're right next to the river, but it's no fun when you're recirculating and the water is right over there. You got that beautiful water, and you're using this, you know. So we increased our reservoir to 100-gallon agricultural reservoir, and we got a pretty good system, but it's still recirculation. You got to worry about flotation, like you said. You got to clean out the muck, you know, the muck from washing all that dirt, washing all those rocks. We have a wheelbarrow that fills up first, and that fills up with a fine sludge, a real fine kind of sludge. And every so often, like, I don't know what we figured, you know, we run for half an hour, and then you got to dump that wheelbarrow. You got to add some more water. Recirculating is a way of the agencies to make it so difficult that it's very inefficient. It's a real pain in the ass. You got to bring a lot more equipment.
Oh yeah.
It's just a way of making it almost unbearable, so that you don't want to do it, you know.
Yeah, they can be that way, and they're trying to do that in Washington. They're getting headway in Oregon. Oh, look who shows up a week late, Dano. Mr. Birthday Boy himself.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he was out with family,
That's all right.
so
He had a
it's
good birthday then.
yeah, family's more important than us. But
That's right. Family first, no matter what.
happy belated birthday, Jerry.
Yeah, happy belated birthday, dude.
M&M Prospecting, welcome. Dirt Diggers UK, welcome. David Buckle, the crazy, he changed his name again. It's good to see you, David. Say hi to Debbie. There was someone else I saw come in. Help animals live. Oh, very
I see
cool.
that. They were asking about metal detecting, I think.
Well, they talked about how they love Dirt Diggers UK's channel, so I'm sure they're a beeper. And I mean that in a good way, you know. Hey, Michael Busy Bee Detecting, how are you? Excellent, everybody. All right, Dano, you're gonna have to help me since Jesse ain't here, buddy.
Help or people can ask questions also.
Oh yeah, we could even open up the lines.
They can ask questions too, but yes. I see you have metal detectors behind you. Do you metal detect a lot, or is that just kind of a thing you do a little bit?
Quite a bit. Quite a
Quite a
bit.
bit.
Yeah, I do.
I'm just
Yeah.
starting into it. I'm new to it, so I could have a million questions about this.
Yeah, good.
There you go, Dano.
I joined Lifetime GPAA and got an Equinox 800 for joining Lifetime GPAA, and I'm learning how to use it.
From what I understand, that's a great machine. That's a great machine. That's what I've heard.
I did good the first time I was out with it. I did really good on a sandbar, but I got here to my house and me, Ed, and Jesse spent a day out here in the yard, going through the yard and hunting. And I had constant chatter and couldn't get rid of it. And it kind of befuddled me because it was new to me. So I didn't understand how to use it. Come to find out, it's because I had my stinking phone in my pocket.
Yeah.
So I learned a lesson there.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, you have what you said, the Equinox 800, right?
Yes, yes.
I've detected in a lot of real trashy areas on my videos, and this machine I've had the longest. This is a Tesoro Super Lobo, and Tesoro has since gone out of business. Unfortunately, they were a really good company. I really enjoyed their customer service, but this machine here was when I was doing research about, you know, detectors. When you start researching detectors, everybody's got an opinion and everybody's got a favorite, and they're all different prices and everything. So I did quite a bit of research, and I decided on this one because of its prospecting capabilities.
Yes.
But it also, right? Yeah. It also has some ability, like for discrimination, to a degree. To a degree, you know, I mean, you can use it in parks. You can use it on dry land. So it does have the ability to discriminate. But compared to what you have, the Equinox, although I've never used one, I've never seen one. From what I understand, those are the cat's meow for trashy areas.
Yes, yes, I've been told that too.
Very good, you know.
But I'm new to
this
it,
one right here, this is a tone machine. So you got headphones on and you're listening to tones. There's no numbers, there's no dial, there's no, and sometimes I almost give up. I'm in the trashy area and I'm swinging for 45 minutes. I don't get a good signal. So I start digging the crappy signals, you know, because
you're something.
You never know, though.
Like, well, maybe that's okay. Your brain kind of forgets what a good signal is. So I'll throw down a coin, or I'll just wait, and hopefully I'll get a genuine good signal, because you start you start wanting to dig. You start digging. Oh, it's another 22 shell. Okay, great. It's a bottle cap. But the machine has not let me down when I haven't given up, and I just kept on going. Even in some of those trashy areas, I have come up with some real good finds just by sticking to it, just
Right.
We have a question in the room by Darren McKinney. Hey, Aaron.
I know Darren. Hello, Darren.
Tell us about those plants that point to high mineral content in the soil. I guess indicator plants like like skunk cabbage and cattails out here. You would have, what are those, buglers or whatever they're called? Trumpet
plants. They're called trumpet plants, and I'm looking it up right here. Desert trumpet, they are called, and they're really an interesting plant. It's a prospectors have used those for generations in the desert areas as an indicator of high mineralization in the ground. And they're a perennial. They come up year after year in the same location when the conditions are right. And they have kind of a hollow stem. And what's interesting is that in some situations I've seen them where there's like plant parts that dehydrate, and they're inside the hollow stem, and when the wind blows, they kind of sound like a rattlesnake. And those are called trumpet desert. They're called desert trumpet or desert trumpet plants, and they're very interesting. They have little flowers, and a little known fact about them is that the young leaves and the older leaves, but especially the young leaves, are highly edible. They're pretty good. They sort of taste like spinach.
I know you were doing a series type thing on edible plants, and you were eating like yucca plants and all kinds of stuff out there. Or regular Yule Gibbons, were you eating pine cone nuts and stuff too?
What's that?
Were you also eating pine cone nuts and stuff? Also, if you were in the higher elevations?
I have not, but I would. I have not, but I would. Pine nuts are highly nutritious. But no, I haven't eaten any wild pine nuts. But wherever I go, I try to look for edibility with the plants. I try to look for plants that we can use. I was out by Randsburg on a trip, not too far from Goler Gulch, Goler Canyon, Garlock, along the Garlock Fault out there, not too far from Duesenberg, the LDMA area.
Okay.
And I had just learned about the desert trumpet plants, and that's the first time I tried the small leaves, the young leaves, and the leaves of the plant, because I had read about the plant on my way out there, or while I was out there, I forget which. And it was really pretty neat because I had already been out there for 2 nights and 3 days, and I was eating canned food and had my water. I didn't have anything that was fresh along, so I tried some of those leaves. They're very good. But in addition to that, they have been used for, from what I can tell, they're a known indicator of high mineralization. Now that might mean, it doesn't necessarily mean there's gold there.
It could be iron or magnesium or whatnot, right?
Right.
just
Yeah.
high mineralization. Do you know any other indicator plants for arid areas since you work in mostly desert, right?
Yeah, most of my prospecting has definitely been done in the desert. Most of my mining work, um, most of my detecting work has, the majority of it has been in these deserts. The Mojave and the Sonoran down by Yuma. When I first started going out, actually, it was down by Yuma, Imperial County, um, Southeast California. Uh, but as far as other indicator plants, there's one other one I think that I can't really I can't really think of any in particular, Ed. No, just the desert trumpet, and I think there is another one, but I can't recall.
Our friend Bill Marsh is being a roaster, kind of. He's like the wash plant is a good sign there's gold in the area. Oh, Bill, Bill, Bill. That's Ohio Relic Hunter. He's a good guy. Let me see.
What's up, Bill?
There was a question back here from our friend Mike at M&M Prospecting. Is dry washing better than a good metal detector?
Uh, yeah, it is. It absolutely is. The places, especially nowadays, you know, we've had 40, 50, 60, 70 years of metal detectors, and they've always gotten better and better and better, and they are just top shelf. You know, these days they're just top shelf. You got people walking around with $7,000 detectors, you know, $9,000 detectors looking for gold. And they've been doing that for decades on decades on decades. So what's happening is the placer gold, where there is gold that's detectable size, it's just harder and harder and harder and harder to find it every year, you know. Unless you're doing something like a dozer scrape or using a loader and you're scraping off, you know, 12 inches, and then you get some, you know, essentially virgin ground again, which people have done that as well in a lot of these areas time and time again. So Mike's question is a good one. In a lot of these places where you do find, or you were able to find detectable gold, there's gold that's finer than that the detectors cannot see unless you're, you know, really, really shallow. Like my detector, for example, I can find some pretty darn small gold, but I have to be right on it. So the dry washer will capture all of that. It'll capture, the dry washer is better for the fines. It's better for up to, you know, quarter-inch size gold. But it's very rare to find any gold that's quarter-inch or close to that, at least in my experience. I know people have done it, but in my experience, usually it's all 1/8 inch or smaller.
Okay. Now, Gravity Guy, Aaron, have you ever followed any John Mitchell treasure stories?
There's one in particular that I have followed, and that was John D. Mitchell. I'm not sure. I think he's dead now, but he was a famous author, and he really did some great treasure stories, lost mines. The book I'm thinking of in particular is called Lost Mines and Buried Treasures Along the Old Frontier. And he was an author who, in many cases, back in the day, he was around. He was able to meet the people who are involved in the stories. He was able to interview the participants and get the straight scoop, right? And he wrote his stories. In a lot of cases, he wrote his stories from pretty much firsthand knowledge. In many cases, he saw samples of gold, he saw samples of meteorites, and what have you. And so there was one story in particular that my dad and I were following, which was about it was about a meteorite that it was a meteorite that came through the sky across the desert, and not Mitchell, but the guy who the story was written about was trying to find the meteorite. And this was back, he was on a mule. He was on a, I think he was leading a mule. This was back in the, so I don't know, 1880s, 1890s. I don't remember exactly when it took place. But the long and the short of it is that in pursuit of the meteor, one night out in the desert, there was a massive windstorm that came up, and the prospector sought shelter in a crater. He found sort of a crater in the earth, and apparently there was an ironwood tree at the bottom of the crater where he was able to tie up his mule or his burro. And that windstorm came through. I don't know, he covered himself up with the blanket and he waited out the windstorm. And when he woke up, mostly the only thing that was left in the crater was all these black rocks, like ironstones. And they were very heavy. So this prospector took some of those ironstones and put them, I guess he filled up a couple saddlebags on his pack, or his mule pack, or whatever it was. He filled up a couple saddlebags of these these heavy stones, and he pursued to try to find the meteorite. And from what I recollect from the story, he did find a piece. He did find the meteorite, and he was able to chip off a chunk a chunk of the meteorite. But in this process, he got dehydrated, and he got dangerously low on water, and he barely made it out of the desert. And in order to lighten the load of his pack, he buried those saddlebags. He buried most of the saddlebags of the heavy stones. And I don't know, he just made it out of the desert, but he still had some of the iron stones in his possession, a small amount of them. And if I remember correctly, the story goes like, I don't know, 20 years later, 25 years later, or something like that, he was looking at them, and he scraped the surface, and they were actually gold. They were like manganese coated gold nuggets.
Wow.
That he had found out there. So the story goes that he was never able to get back and find his saddlebags. And he was never able to get back and find the crater either, where the gold nuggets, where he had found the gold nuggets, so that's a little bit about one of John Mitchell's treasure stories. And that's kind of how I got started in the beginning. That's kind of how I got started with, even before I was gold prospecting, way before I was dry washing, in the early 2000s,
right,
and late 1990s and into the early 2000s, I was going after these treasure stories. usually in the desert, usually with my dad. My dad and I was going after them and traveling in the desert, traveling, camping overnight, spending a couple nights out in the desert. And that was my first meaningful experience with just being out there in the beautiful desert and traveling on all those four-wheel drive roads, miles and miles and miles of open road, you know. And that's one of the stories where I just fell in love with the exploration and the travel and the camping and the remoteness and the fascination of actually finding one of those treasure stories, finding one of those places. That's kind of how it all began, and that's kind of how I got started with the whole the prospecting and the gold mining and mining claims and all that. It sort of came around in a circle because I had learned about some of that stuff as a kid, watching some of the Gold Prospectors Association. You know, what was it? Saturday they had a show. What, like, I don't know, once a month or every weekend or something like that, when they had the older Massey. You guys help me out.
The buzzer.
Yeah, Buzzard, Tom Massey.
And then Tom Massey.
Well, Tom is the
Or
son,
I
right?
mean George Massey. George the Buzzard Massey, yes.
Yeah, 'cause when I started watching, it was him, and then it was Perry had, what was it called, Prospecting America.
Right.
Of course, you had Gold Fever.
Yeah, those shows I saw when I was a kid, and also I had read some treasure magazines. And when I was about 12 years old, I got my first detector. I got a White's Coin Master, like a real basic model. White's had like 3 different models or something of the Coin Master. I got a basic Coin Master when I was, I think, about 12 years old, maybe 11. I'm not sure, 11 or 12. And at the same time, I was watching those Gold Prospector those shows, TV shows, you know, because times were so different back then. We had like 5 channels, you know, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Like 5 channels or whatever it was. It was on Saturday morning or something.
And we were the remote control back then. There was no remote control.
Yeah. So it was like I got a fascination for it then, but I never did any gold prospecting, and I never did any mining of any type until the early 2000s, when I was doing these desert trips with my dad, and we were going on these. We were down by the Salton Sea. We were climbing over the Superstition Mountains. We were looking for lost mines, and we were going after that John Mitchell story about the meteorite, and we were doing these trips. And at the same time, YouTube came around, and I had that previous knowledge of the Gold Prospectors Association of America and
right.
Those gold fever shows. And I was thinking, gosh, I really love being out here. I really love the travel and the exploration, but I don't know if we're really going to find one of these treasures. You know?
Well, you never know if you're not out there looking, right?
That's right. So I thought, I got to combine. Well, then I started seeing some YouTube videos. I wrote down a list here, the early YouTubers that I used to watch, you know, Jeff Williams, Dan Hurd. I think Dan Hurd got started a little bit later than Jeff Williams, but I remember watching Dan Hurd videos when he was in the classroom.
Yeah.
Another guy you guys have probably watched his videos before, Matt Matson.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen him do anything for a long time though.
Right, but he had some good videos back in the day. You know, Matt Matson, Dan Hurd, Jeff Williams, Miner or Bust.
Oh yeah, Darcy Cooper.
Darcy
I was
Cooper.
I was waiting for that one right there, Aaron. I was
Yeah.
waiting for Darcy.
Miner or bust, Darcy Cooper. I used to sit down and he just fascinated me with his videos and the work that he was doing, the way that he put them together, the he was a big inspiration for me. So was Jeff
Same
Williams.
here.
So was Dan Hurd. And then there was also Aqua Chigger.
Oh yeah, he was a great guest on our show too. He was fun.
Aqua Chigger. You guys have probably seen that one video where he found the dropped silver coins in the river. He found that hoard. He found a hoard, literally like I don't know, hundreds of big silver coins that he found in some river.
Oh, I believe it.
I don't know if you guys have seen that or not yet, but those videos, about the same time I was watching some of those videos on YouTube, I was making these trips with my dad, and I said, Dad, we got to get into gold prospecting. We got to get into, these people are going out every weekend. I was seeing these videos, and I said, we got to get into gold prospecting. We got to get into metal detecting, because I'm watching people finding this stuff, and I don't see anybody finding these treasures, the treasures. So it was a more practical way of getting into making the trips and doing the exploration and the camping and being out there, being out in the wild open spaces. All that stuff sort of came together, and that's kind of how it all began for me.
We had
Excellent.
Tom ask a question in the room. You want to know if you believed in the lost Dutchman's mine?
The Lost Dutchman.
Yeah, I believe it was a real thing. I believe it was. I haven't really looked into that too much, but yeah, I believe it was a real. The origins of it were true, and I think the location is pretty well known. That's the Peralta family history or something like that. I forget exactly now. Yeah, I pretty much still believe that story was, that legend was not just a legend. It was based in, like a lot of these, I think they were based in truth to an extent. Do you think it
ever got found and never spoke of, or do you think it's still out there?
I think it was found. I think it was
found and kept silent.
Well, it's like we always say, if you found a big bunch of gold, would you tell people? Because every time people fess up, the government comes and says, well, that was ours.
Or some big insurance company.
Right.
Oh, that's ours, and you can't have nothing. Oh, here's $10,000 for finder's fee. Like that couple in California not too long ago. They found those 2 tin cans of silver or gold eagles.
It was gold eagles.
And geez.
And the thing about that is, what bothered me, okay, whatever the worth of that was, whether it's 10,000 or 5,000, whatever it was at that time, well, a quarter of that was $5,000 in gold. So why did they have to give it all back? Why didn't they just give back the monetary value worth to them? Why did they have to give it all back?
Well, because our government's greedy.
Exactly. That's why we always ask people on the show every now and then, Aaron. We ask, so what would you do if you found it? And I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd melt it all down, keep a couple for souvenirs, and that stuff be out the door. Bam.
Oh yeah. Loose lips sink ships.
I know the couple you're talking about, and the last thing I heard about that story was that it was estimated about $10 million, because the coins were so pristine, they were so rare, they were so perfect, and because of the confiscation of gold back in like 1933, where basically the government said you can turn in all your gold, we're going to give you paper money, or you get a $10,000 fine and 10 years in prison. So everybody had to turn in their gold, except if it was like
Rough
artistic.
gold.
No.
Oh, was it artistic?
No. Except if it was like considered numismatic, collectible, special, museum quality, blah, blah, blah. If it was like certain kinds of very special currency could be kept, but most of it, the majority of it, was turned over by the American people because they were told, if you don't, it's $10,000 or 10 years in prison. So do you want, this is the value. There, at the time, I think it was $20 an ounce. And then shortly after, in a few years, it went up to like $35 an ounce, like after everybody turned over their gold, right?
Right.
Well, those coins you're talking about, I didn't know they had to turn them in. I didn't hear that.
Oh yeah, they lost all of them.
Lost all of it, every bit
all
of
it. Every
they
single
gave back
last
the monetary value and been able to keep the rest in my book.
I agree with you that of the time it was lost or stolen or whatever, that the insurance company actually lost. Exactly. Should have zipped the lip.
You got it right. It should have been zilch.
Like Dano said, they should have stayed quiet.
Oh yeah.
And it would have been so hard to melt those coins because apparently, I mean, they were very, very special. It would have been really hard to melt those down.
Yeah, when
after about the 8th one you sold, they'd be on to you.
You have a weight coin at melt. It's okay an ounce. At the collector value, it's $1 million coin.
Right.
And so you stash it away like they did during the Depression, when they didn't trust banks. Like I don't know why people trust them so much now, but you stash them away and you break one out. Okay, here, I'm selling this coin up for auction. It's only one I got. And then you don't have to be the person do it. Next, it could be your son or your daughter or a cousin or something. But how often would you really have to cash it out if you if you didn't live frugally? If you lived within your means, that one coin could be sufficient for a long time. Unless you were like me and would say, hey, I'm going to Australia. Hey, or I'm going to the Yukon. Man, I need to grab another coin. Hey, I'm going to. But yeah.
Something like that, Ed, is what you'd have to do. You'd have to be covert and sell one every few years. Something like that, very quietly. I don't know. Nowadays, probably use cryptocurrency or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but you have to be. Getting back to what you're talking about, Dano, the Superstition Mountains. What was it? The Lost Dutchman mine. There's another one too that is. I don't know. Maybe it is the Lost Dutchman, or the theory. Anyway, the theory is maybe it's the Lost Dutchman. Was the reason for the White Sands National Monument, because it was like, I don't know, this is just off the top of my head. It was like it wasn't too long after the Lost Dutchman thing came about that the White Sands National Monument was
established.
They made that monument, and there's certainly a theory out there that the government got all of that.
Oh, here, I'll tell you something I noticed with old claim maps. you look at old mining district maps, right? Back from the 1800s and whatnot. I was looking at this in Washington State, and I noticed that most major mining districts are now within monuments, national parks,
Well, sure, the government don't want you to
and
be wealthy. They
wildlife
don't want you to get
areas.
by.
Oh, that's right. And they leave the slim pickings for the citizens, where,
Yeah.
you know, they're for here we are. What did we talk about in our meeting yesterday, Aaron? It does come up sometimes. But you know, it's them overreaching, and unfortunately too many of us allowed it. And just like the silent majority needs to get vocal, we see the far left and the minority, everyone's bending a knee to those blankety blank blanks. And when the majority is more like-minded with us than we would believe, or what the media and Hollywood will lead us to believe, or frickin' New York, or the San Francisco, you know. They're the major minority, and we've been silent way too long. And now with some of the BS they're trying to push, and a lot of it has to go to education. They have started to take control from the inside, and they doing the same thing Adolf Hitler did with teaching the young. If you corrupt the young, you'll get them. And the only way anyone could take our country is by the inside out, plain and simple.
Yeah. Indoctrination, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the theories, is that the White Sands National Monument was that deposit. I don't think that was really a natural, the Lost Dutchman. That was supposed to be a treasure hoard, right?
I think it's part of the Peralta's mines.
Right. Okay.
The
Well,
Peralta family in New Mexico, or Arizona, I mean.
yeah, the Peralta family. It was a cache of gold from the Amazon or something like that. When the Spanish went down there and the Spaniards went down there and conquered, something like that. It was like a stash of immense amounts of gold and jewels and whatever else. Anyway, one of the things I heard was the White Sands National Monument came about because the powers that shouldn't be wanted control of. They wanted to shut that down and control it, and you know, God knows where it went and all that. Definitely.
Okay, according to legend, Lost Dutchman gold mine is a rich gold mine hidden in the southwestern United States. Why aren't youngins
Trying to raid that instead of Area 51.
Yeah, I hear you, huh, Placer Chaser.
I was going to say that. Just let me interject something here, guys. You know, you mentioned, Ed, about the mining districts and how a lot of them are they're peculiarly in a lot of the high value the high value mining areas where historically a lot of
right.
a lot of good gold was, a lot of platinum, a lot of valuables, a lot of value. A lot of those are, yeah, in a national park now, or right, you know,
A monument or something. Yeah.
A refuge, you know. I think it was Bill Clinton in 1993 who declared all mountains in the southwestern United States, higher than 10 feet or something like that. He declared them all wilderness areas.
Oh, brother.
So, something to that effect. The Wilderness Act of 1983 or whatever it was, I forget exactly. Bill Clinton did a lot of things. I don't want to get too much into a political discussion about it, but my point was that now a wilderness area, when there's a designation of wilderness area, then they say, oh, okay, well, wait, that's a wilderness area. So no, it's only foot traffic. If you have a horse, yeah, you can take a horse. No bicycles, no wheelbarrows, no nothing with a wheel.
Nothing motorized. Yeah.
Nothing motorized. No, no, no. But you can walk. You can walk. I hope you're fit.
Only on designated trails, and
I hope you're not a disabled veteran. Hope you got good knees. I hope you can carry in all your water and all your shovels, everything, on and on and on and on, right? Well, my dad and I located a deposit out in the desert, in the American desert, and it's actually an old lode mine, which has residual placers, and it has placers. It's in the desert, and it has placers in the actual arroyo. There's an arroyo on 3 sides of where the lode was. And
so not only a lode, you have placer deposits also.
Right, right, and it's nice gold, and the early miners, we think probably just before World War II. That's our best guess. We weren't able to actually find any names, or we weren't even able to establish with the government that it was a road, because we wanted to link the road to being established prior to 1976.
That way they couldn't close it legally.
Yeah, yeah, right. There's a rule 777 or whatever it is.
Right.
If you can establish that it was a designated route, or it was a named route, then they can't keep you out of it. Well, we haven't. The mine was not that big, so it was never. I mean, it was a known mine back in the day, but we can't find records of it. We were looking all over. We were looking down in the shaft. We had a camera. We were lowering our camera down on a rope because we wanted to see if there was a drift
right
off the side, because we wanted to see if we could find an artifact or anything that would give us a name of this mine. But here's the thing my point was that the BLM, once we located the claim, once we went out there and once we put our corner markers and we mapped it all out, and we did all the, for a lode mine, it's different than a placer.
Right.
So once we did all of our location, and once we recorded the mine and all that, made it official, the BLM said, "Oh yeah, but you can't drive out there." They said it's an area of critical environmental concern.
For what? The tortoise?
For the tortoise.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
It's an area of ACEC. So here's a thing where, way after the mining law, way after all the things that we did, we prospected, we sampled, we decided we were going to file a claim, we did all that, we met all their regulations. Afterwards, they say, oh yeah, but it's you might hurt the tortoises if you go through there. And the same thing the government had done about the same time, they had done the similar thing out in Nevada, where there was some kind of a solar plant that was going in, or a wind plant or something, where they had taken a whole bunch of desert tortoises and they put them in like an enclosure. And then the BLM was running short on funds or something to that effect. And they had to like euthanize thousands of desert tortoises because they no longer could, they didn't have the funding anymore or whatever it was. In one case, they can do that. But in our case, they can say, oh, you can't drive to your mine anymore
Well,
because
it's the same thing out west. Well, you're out west, but like up in the motherlode country and Oregon and Washington, they don't want us to dredge, but they can go into a salmon river with an excavator and work on habitat for salmon with heavy equipment, but we can't go in. They don't want us in there with the dredge. And, you know, to me, it's all a control and a power trip. And for them to keep resources to them, it's just
and out of our and out of our pocket.
right, right. Right. And like what's going on Wet Lake is that in the Motherlode, where they're actually dredging to remove mercury and stuff, and it's being funded by the California state dollars, and it's someone like the frickin' Sierra Club or something doing it. Are you kidding me?
Combi. I think it's Combi, Lake Combi.
Well, I know Reed Lucan's a YouTuber, fellow YouTuber,
Yeah.
has done some stuff on it. And that's like BS, you know. We should no longer call it suction gold dredging or we should call it environmental reclamation. We're reclamating environments for fish habitat and removing dangerous leads and other heavy metals and glass and barbed wire and
Well, the dredging could be a controlled thing, seasonal. When a salmon are spawning, no dredging.
well, they already do that, Dano. They already do that. They've been doing that for over 20 years in Washington. Hey, we have Toledo Jess with us.
Do we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it's the Sierra Fund. I'm not exactly sure.
I think you're right on that. The Sierra Fund, not
They're not even using they're using a cutter head dredge apparently, which is from what I understand. A cutter head dredge is something like, I don't know.
That's a reclamation dredge. It's like the one I worked on 25 years ago when we built boat marinas and dredged out channels in harbors and lakes and stuff. It's like the one I was looking at today at Grand Lake St. Mary's. Yeah.
They are not as efficient in the capture of gold and mercury.
Well, they're not designed to. They're designed for beach reclamation and stuff like that. They're not designed for mining. Shoot.
Yeah.
Tony Beats's bucket line dredge would do a better job than a reclamation dredge.
I'm sure it would. I'm sure it would. Yeah. Well, you know, it was back in I think 2014 and 2015 when the Brandon Reinhardt case was going through the California court system.
Right.
And my dad and I had become pretty involved. We had, before that, well, while that was happening and after our desert claim location. We went prospecting one time in the Sierra Nevadas, and that was our first time sluicing. I bought an A51. I bought a Keen A51 from the local prospecting shop, and my dad and I were going camping and fishing, and I convinced him to bring that along and give it a shot. What the heck, you know? So we did some prospecting on the river, and we found some pretty nice gold. You know, we were there for one night, and we did some digging, and we ran buckets, and we got really sore and tired, but we found some gold. So we were really excited about it. And we filed a claim. We looked it up first. We looked up the area first on the LR 2000 and all that stuff, and we found there was some open ground. So we did our due diligence. We filed some claims, and we started getting into a lot of problems with the U.S. Forest Service. And this is about the same time that the Brandon Reinhardt case was, I think it had already gone through maybe like one court. And at the time, I think there was still another plaintiff, or maybe two other plaintiffs that were working with the public lands for the people. And all this was happening at the same time my dad and I were dealing with these problems with the U.S. Forest Service, and problem after problem with they still continue to this day with the U.S. Forest Service. About 2/3 of our claim we can't dig in because of the U.S. Forest Service. So my dad and I, through one of our local clubs, what was happening was there was a court case. There was a big hearing coming up in San Bernardino.
Right.
The Reinhardt, I think at the time, I think it was the Reinhardt and 2 or 3 other cases that were sort of, I think they were going to combine them.
Yeah, it was all in, everything was hanging in the balance of that one case. Like,
They were going to like, they
yeah,
were going to conjoin the cases or something like that.
yeah, it was a couple of people up in Northern California, Reinhardt. It was several cases put together for this case.
It was a big event in the progression of the legal cases. And my dad and I organized a bus ride from the San Diego area, because right now I'm in about 7 local clubs. At the time I was, I know it's a lot of clubs. It's a lot of clubs, but they're all good people. But at the time I was in, I think, 3. And there was a big San Diego club, there was a Temecula club, and there was a Southwestern Prospectors and Miners Association that was like one of the first prospecting clubs in the nation, I think. And
right.
My dad and I organized a bus ride. We got a school bus. We chartered a school bus for the day. It was almost full. It was like darn near full. We had it was great. We had a good day. We chartered this school bus. Everybody pitched in like, I don't know, $10. I forget what it was, $7.50 or something. Everybody pitched in money, and we did this for a day. We all took the school bus, the big yellow school bus, up the I-15, and even Brad Jones from the
GPAA,
yeah, he was on the bus ride. He was taking photographs, and it was really neat. We did that whole bus ride up to the court thing, and you know, it's been a while now. I don't know exactly the legal things that happened and everything since then, but I know that probably a year later, I don't know if it was a year later or like 8 months later, I myself drove out to the one that was in downtown LA, because there was I think at that time it was only the Reinhardt. I think the other ones had been dropped or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but this has been going on for a long time. And a lot of these people, I didn't have much money to spend on any of this, but a lot of people put a lot of money into this.
Oh yeah, a lot. Some lost their livelihood too. And that's one thing why so many people stress not using, especially out west. And I try not to even use it because, one, for me, it's not a hobby. It's not a hobby and it isn't recreation, even though I recreate while doing it. Um, it's a lifestyle. And a lot of people don't really understand if you're not a recreationalist and you're not a hobbyist out west, you do have some congressional protection through the 1872 Mining Act. If you call yourself a hobbyist or a miner or a hobbyist or a recreational, it's non-essential. You're
Right,
nothing. You're
right,
it's null and void. That's kaput. So,
right.
and unfortunately, good guys like Buzzard, he used to push uh, recreationalist rights and hobbyist rights and stuff, and but mostly for public lands, which like PLP does now still, and the GPAA still does a lot with that, and even Shannon Poe and American Mining Alliance up in Washington and several other good organizations. But out there, you really need to look at it twice. Is it really just a hobby?
No, yeah,
I'm
right.
sorry, a hobby I can live without. Prospecting, I can't. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely true, Ed. And I've heard that many, many times in the other clubs that I'm in and at meetings. You know, we don't call ourselves uh, hobbyists, like you said. We call ourselves miners. We don't
Yeah.
call ourselves. It's not recreation. A lot of people don't understand that. Even though, like you said, you are recreating when you're out there. You know, at the same time, I was getting pretty fired up on all this. It's kind of funny in a way because if you read stories back in the middle to late 1800s, in a lot of cases before there were counties, there were mining districts, and the mining districts, they predate a lot of these counties that are here now, and they, of
Yeah.
course, they predate the U.S. Forest Service. They predate the Bureau of Land Management. They
Yeah.
predate a lot of these things. So if you do a little bit of researching and a little bit of history about it, a little bit of learning about these olden days, back in those days as well,
Well,
a lot of
you.
a lot of the miners knew more about the law than the lawmen,
Oh, yeah.
because
And they
the law,
made the rules too. The mining districts and the Council of Miners. They made the rules. It,
they
it,
needed
it
they
wasn't
needed
the government that made hydraulic mining prohibited in the 1800s in the mother lode. It was the miners. They knew they were choking up the rivers down below in the San Joaquin Valley and causing a lot of havoc in farmland and other settlements, and they literally did it upon themselves.
That's
If
right.
if
That's
I'm
right.
understanding history correctly.
Well, they knew the law. They created the law in many cases. They wrote the law. Not only did they write it, but it was it was handwritten to an to an to an ability that we don't have these days. You know, it's my dad and I. My dad and I and a couple other people in our district in the Sierra Nevadas. It's called the Greenhorn Mining District. We were reviewing the original bylaws because we had to find the original bylaws, I think from 1867 or 1876 or whenever it was, we had to find the original bylaws if possible. And one of our members did. And we were reviewing the original bylaws so that we could recreate what they call modernize the mining district, nowadays. And we were reading the bylaws, and it was amazing how they were written. It was all cursive. It was so well done. And that was because those miners back in those days, they needed to be well educated on all of these issues. And so what's happening to a degree nowadays is, like you're talking about, Ed, a lot of people nowadays are learning that I'm not a recreational hobbyist. I'm a miner. They're learning about some of these the importance of some of these words.
Well, a lot of times words mean everything. It's the English. It's because it's how it's written. And like we were talking about earlier, if you claim to be a mere hobbyist, it's non-essential. It's nothing. You're nothing. If you're a small-scale miner or a miner, or even a prospector, because what does a prospector do? They prospect till they find it, and then they sell it to a miner, and they move on a lot of times. Or you prospect until you find it, and then you mine it. Either way,
yeah.
If you do it,
that's the goal. Right?
If I'm recreationalist or I'm a hobbyist, it's like we used to go to the 4x4 clubs and stuff like that, trying to get help for the issues in the mining community up in Washington, closures and stuff and whatnot. And they acted like, oh, no, why? Because we're like, one day it's going to affect you. Even the fishermen, they're so blind to see they're nothing but useful idiots right now. And I used to really enjoy fishing. And I know there's a lot of people that do, and nothing against it. We actually have a good community with the trout fly fishermen here on the Mohican River and the Clear Fork. I was talking to you yesterday about it. But even one day, they'll come after them, where they're now trying to say, we're killing the fish. They show, I've seen it on Fish Not Gold's Facebook site, they show spawned salmon dead in the river and say it's because of suction dredging. People, what the hell? Salmon frickin' die after they spawn.
Right.
Jeez, what you...
Mission accomplished. Yeah. Yep. They die afterwards. That's right. Look, any of us realize, and we've all seen the photographs, and they kind of end the debate when you show a river in late summer or fall or autumn or whatever, when the water's low and you see a few dredgers in the water, and then they show another photograph that next February or that next March when the water is 60 feet higher or 30 feet higher or 20 feet higher, and it's in massive flood stage. There is nothing that the small scale suction dredger, there's nothing that we could do that would even come close to what Mother Nature does on a regular basis.
Jesse has mentioned that same points numerous times. There's nothing we can't do. They talk about a little bit of turbidity that barely goes downstream, any at all, harming the fish. BS. Where, like you said, every winter thaw, there's mass flooding and turbidity. every season, every spring. There's mass flooding.
And I'll say it again. There ain't anything us humans can do to this planet that Mother Nature can't fix and destroy
That's
what
right.
we built.
She'll take it back when she wants to.
Oh yeah, if Mother Nature don't like what us mere humans are doing, she'll reclaim it in a heartbeat. The desert does it all the times. The rainforest of Washington
Woods do it,
does.
yeah. Woods do it all the time.
The here, anywhere where you're at, you know, it's
Yep.
Wind, rain, heat, cold.
I've seen many a photograph, not only in the mountain placer areas, but also in the desert areas. I've seen quite a few like threads of photographs where somebody took the time to take photographs of their work after they were done mining, and then they would come back the next spring. And you know, the desert maybe it might have a flood that year. It might not. It might take 5 years, but Mother Nature's going to come in and just completely change that whole situation and completely reclaim all of that. And we cannot emulate that with
No,
the work that
no.
Look at old homesteads and cellar holes and stuff. You know, they're usually grown over and it's really hard to find them. If you know what to look for, you'll find them. But any regular person walking down through the woods or something would never know that there used to be a house there.
Right.
Mother Nature's claimed everything back, you know.
And
You got a little bit of knowledge, you know, you can tell where it's at. But other than that, she destroys anything we can build.
And that's another reason why they're dumbifying the young and the useful idiots, you know.
Yeah.
You keep them dumb.
I have a grandson who just is in college, and he's taken forestry. You know what he's taking, Ruby? Forestry? Environmental studies.
Oh, I took environmental conservation up at Skagit Valley College.
Right. So I tell him, look, you know, learn what you can, but what you're really going to learn what your subject is about when you actually get out in the world. What you learn in school is just book stuff. You have to get out and really learn what's what, you know. But, you know, I've been trying to get him to go painting with me one day.
One day.
One day.
You never know. Well, look, even a BLM.
Good point, Kent.
There's a biologist who worked for the Environmental Protection Agency who's actually a gold dredger who has talked to Congress and the high courts and everything about what we do scientifically. What we do is not it helps more than it hurts. And they just don't want to hear good science, you know.
Well, you look what Ken Fackler said. Let's look at wildfires. The reason we're having so many wildfires out in California
because they don't allow you to glean the forest anymore.
You cannot clear anything out. The underbrush has to stay good. You might destroy the habitat of some little bug,
or a toad, or a frickin' or a doggone
tweaker.
A tweaker. Yeah, even in California, tweakers are protected now. Good old California. Nothing against you, Californians. I'm an ex one.
I lived there.
But you know, it's a beautiful state. I love California. If it wasn't for the people in the major cities,
I'll tell you what, guys. I know a lot of the people in the chat are claim owners. You guys probably own some claims, or you're at least signers
used
on some
to.
claims. Everybody should know that September 1st is coming up pretty quick. You got to get that. I just got this in the mail yesterday.
Oh yeah, you
People-
have to have your fees paid to the BLM by.
September 1st.
Yeah.
So everybody should be alerted to the fact that if you're a claim owner or you're a partner on a claim, you got to get this in. They didn't get it to me until yesterday.
Of course.
And we called the BLM to find out where the paperwork was, and they said, "Oh, because we have a new director, or they're whatever." I don't know. They said
We have a new excuse.
Yeah. So that's why it took longer. But I think they said that you have until September 3rd. But I wouldn't rely on that.
I was going to say, that's the same person that'll tell you, no, you don't have to be in court. We'll do
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, remember, boys and girls.
I looked at the ICMJ website, and they said September 1st. So everybody should just take a look at that. We in California got screwed, California, like you're saying, we got screwed royally because the California government tacked on, I think it's a $75 or $175 recordation. They bumped it up.
Right.
They bumped it up. It was 35 or something like that for years and years and years. In 2018, California added a big fee for the recording that you need to do with the state. The BLM this year, because of an increase in the fee, I think they increased it like 7.85%. So the Bureau of Land Management raised their fee from $10 to $15, which is, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's half as much more. But everybody should, if you've got a claim or you're a partner or whatever, you should be getting this paperwork together and get it in so that it's all official and all that, so we don't lose any more of those claims.
Don't forget to also refile with your county seat. You need to also file yearly with your county seat. Plus, you gotta make sure all your corner posts are up, your discovery marker and everything, or it's not a legit claim.
It's a little bit different in California than that, but certainly have to get it into the BLM, and you got to get it stamped by the recorder, and I believe that is at the county seat.
You have to file also with your county seat. It was when I had my claims on the Klamath in Northern California and my claims up in Washington. County seat and BLM, and it's not valid if they're not marked properly. So do your homework, do your due diligence, mark them, and keep them. Your site just went a little haywire.
Yeah. Aliens have got them.
That's okay. I for a minute there, I thought he went disco on us for a second.
I know. My eyes were.
Jesse said I had to look away.
Yeah.
Jerry's like, they're shutting it down. Laugh out loud.
Brother Joseph to know if there's an earthquake going on over there where you're at. It got really shaky on our end.
Green Mountain Gold Trap is, I'm so thankful that he dropped in the chat here. Green Mountain Gold Trap is a sponsor of my YouTube channel, and quite a while back, after I
yeah, what's up with that? Joe.
After I began my YouTube channel, I put on my website that we were looking for sponsors and we were interested in any kind of sponsorships and that kind of thing. And Green Mountain Gold Trap was the first person, Joseph, he was the first person who contacted me. And I've got an announcement that Green Mountain Gold Trap today has 15% off on their on his 2 products. The mini, which is 23 inches, is $43 off, and the River Hog, which is 36 inches, is $63 off.
Oh, the pay streak finder. That's
That's really cool that Brother Joseph's a sponsor of yours.
yeah. What's up with that?
I like that he's our friend, though. He's our friend before he's our sponsor.
Actually,
Sure is, yeah.
got his logo up there on the screen right now. Our good friend at Green Mountain Gold Trap. It's truly, I love that trap. I like that it's clear. I love that trap. It's such an easy clean out.
Well,
Such
we could always
an
use
easy.
more sponsors there, Brother Joe.
Yeah, no doubt. We talked about this before. No, you know I love you like a brother, Joe. I told you, Aaron, we'd roast somebody. If it ain't you, it's someone else. Might as well be Brother Joe too.
And as far as the other Ed, that's a bummer. You got no sponsors.
It happens. It happens. It takes time. Lots of time, due diligence, and work. So it don't happen overnight, right, Aaron?
Got that right.
Shit, I've been doing this for
It's
4 or 5 years, and I've got 200 and some subscribers. I'm there.
You're a Gloria.
I didn't know Dano. Does Jesse also have a channel as well?
Well, I got a channel. I got quite a few videos on it.
I have a few things up on my channel, but my channel is mostly used to shoot videos over to Ed.
Right. It's more of a depository.
Right.
I'm just a nobody.
So I can get the link and download it and stuff like that.
Rather than try to sending them videos and stuff from our outings, I just put them on YouTube and send him the link, and then he deals with it. I do have a few things on there, not much.
I have to subscribe to your guys' channels. I don't think I'm subscribed
What?
to your channels.
I'm just a little guy.
Oh, come on, Dano. You'll get there. You finally published something.
You're over 200 pounds, aren't you?
Well, the thought behind my doing videos is, if there's ever a day I get old enough I forget, hopefully someone will show me and I can remember what I did. You know what I mean? Instead of sitting there lost all the time. Yeah, that is me. I did that.
I don't remember doing that.
That's funny. And it's true though, also because a lot of the videos I've made, I look back on them and I say, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, that's right. You know, it was particularly with my prospecting videos, I try to show in the video what I did find or what I didn't find, because, and then I usually say whatever I'm calling the area or the spot, or because I want to go back sometimes myself and look.
Well, see, we learned here in Ohio, we quit showing our gold, because when we do, they would go to where we were at and just wear it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's happened to me. People who watch my videos know that I don't really talk about exactly where I am usually. Once in a while, I do say exactly where I am. But even though I've done that, and I've been rather secretive on some of my videos, people came in after me. People knew where I was.
Right.
And, you know, worked the whole.
Well, and here's the other problem with showing your area sometimes. Not only do you show other miners, and that's kind of okay, but sometimes the wrong people see that and they go,
Right.
oh, there's somebody destroying. Let's call the police. Let's call these people. Let's get them in trouble. So that's one of the reasons we don't really show where we're at. We'll show us working our equipment and stuff like that, but we quit
Well,
showing.
I think we need to start showing more gold because you know how they are at gold porn.
I know all these.
Gotta get their
Um,
gold porn or they ain't happy.
we'll
Right.
just have to stop saying anything about where we're at. Everything be No Tell 'em Creek.
Everything
And
don't tell them creek, and this is what we found.
Keep
Yeah, but
things
guys,
are
if you're
tighter.
If your creek sleuths, if your creek detectives like we are, I know where Chris Dyer was in his last video as soon as he rolled it. And he tried to keep it tight, but I knew where he was at.
Well, he was at the Wilson property.
He tried to keep the camera down and fool some people.
Yeah.
Can't
You know,
fool
there's-
some people.
There's a when I was deciding about my metal detector to get my Tesoro Super Lobo, one of the stories I heard, there was a guy there was a Southern Californian prospector. I believe his name was Raymond, but I may have gotten his name wrong. He's no longer with us, but he used to go out to, I think he was from the Orange County area. He used to go out, apparently he had some sort of respiratory problems, and he used to go out to the desert for 2 weeks every year or longer to just get out there and help his breathing situation.
Well,
And
you know, your area is a lot drier than OC is. You know, we have all that Pacific moisture in Orange County compared to like
Right.
what they have in Imperial County or San Bernardino County or back there in Riverside and stuff. So you go right through that
Yeah.
pass there on 91 towards Riverside and you can feel it a little, but I tell you, you get out by Desert Center and you feel it like a brick wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, he used his sort of stomping ground was around north of Joshua Tree National Park
Oh,
in an
okay.
area called the Dale District, the Dale Mining District. Used to be called the Virginia Dale Mining District, and he was pretty well known in that area. He used to have a little travel trailer that he pulled behind his Toyota, and he would go out there for a couple weeks at a time, and he metal detected. And what he had was a Tesoro Super Lobo. And on one of his trips, the story goes that on one of his trips, he was just about wiped out. He was headed back to his truck. He was headed back to his camper. And like a lot of treasure stories, you know, there's a little bit of drama. He was on his way back to his truck, and he was so tired that he was almost dragging his detector. And he got a screaming signal, and he took a look, and what he found, and this has been a documented story actually, what he found was the top of a ledge. And when you think about a ledge, most people think of a ledge like a cliff, like the side of a cliff, a ledge, a drop off. But in mining terms, oftentimes a ledge is basically a vein, the top of a vein going straight down into the earth, down into the hard rock. He found the top of a previously undiscovered ledge.
Ooh,
of
nice.
Yeah, I'm sure there's still. I'm sure there's still some out there too.
He found 51 ounces before he packed up, and he scraped off the surface 51 ounces, and that area has since become known Area 51.
Aha!
A second Area 51, he found 51 ounces of basically pure gold with some rock in it, and he took that back, and yeah, it was the top of it. Since then, for I don't know, 15 years, people have gone back with different devices chisels, jackhammers.
Trying
You know
to
that-
find it?
No. Just there, right now, if you go out there, from what I understand, I haven't actually seen it myself. If you go out to that area 51, you know what? I think his name was Richard. I don't think his name was Raymond. I think it was Richard. If you go out there, where that was is now about a 20-foot deep by 8-foot by 12-foot shaft that goes down, because it was a ledge. It was literally a lot of solid gold in between the rocks going straight down. I don't know, 30 feet, 40 feet, and when I heard about that, I said, okay, this is a good detector for me. I can do that same thing. So that's one of the reasons why I picked my Tesoro, was that story.
There you go.
You just drag it behind you until you find the ledge, right?
That's right. Yeah, I haven't found one yet. So.
Keep looking. I'm sure there's more out there. I mean, you know, they didn't find them all.
Right.
Oh boy, can you imagine? Wow.
And with the planet Earth doing her thing, you
That's
know,
the stuff dreams are made out of.
there's new loads being pushed up and eroded, topsoil being eroded from it. It's funny, like I've said it before, natural disasters and moments of mass destruction can be beneficial to the person in the construction business and the miner.
Right.
So, they're a little blessing in disguise. You know, out west, earthquakes, you know, gold tends to follow faults, and whoop. All right, Dano, you about fall backwards in your chair,
I
buddy?
have hands on my head, leaning back, man, relaxing.
Oh, look like you about. I wish I would have had you up too. It looked like you were gonna go over, see your feet go. Ah.
I'll tell you what, get some more likes, I might tip over.
I don't even know how many likes we have.
Ed, you mentioned Reed Lukens.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned Reed Lukens. That's one of the guys that used to watch too way back in the day. He's got a lot of great videos.
That he does.
Reed,
he was also a very good guest. I am working on Darcy Cooper. I hope to get him on in the winter. And that room, when
Didn't
we
he
were
just put something out? Didn't he just put some kind of
he
movie
put
out or
a
something?
teaser out.
Yeah, a teaser.
It's a teaser for his upcoming mining documentary.
Right. Okay.
So, that guy's one of my inspirations. I started watching him in 2008, and he's such a good producer, wildlife producer. He tells such a great story, and he's a very knowledgeable placer miner. Like, if you want to learn placer mining and thinking out of the stream, because, you know, British Columbia, you can't dredge, you can't river sluice, so you're limited to benches and I-banking, where his whole message was think out of the stream, think above the stream. And like where
Darcy.
Darcy.
Darcy made, not only is he a fantastic miner, but he made the videos look easy. You know, he did such a great job on his videos that a lot of people like me thought, oh, well, I'll just make videos like Darcy does, you know?
Yeah, it ain't so easy.
Until you find out it's 20 minutes of video is 10 hours of editing.
Oh, yeah, more than that,
really makes
buddy.
it look easy.
More than that, plus the countless and countless hours of footage and the things he does also, and I believe he takes all of that. I would not doubt it if that man never used any stock footage at all. That's everything he took. And he also has a good Apple computer and he uses a very good program and he knows how to use it. It's obvious. So he's definitely has the talent. And I
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Top Cat said, him and Top Cat and I have watched Josh, his son, grow up from a kid to a young man through Darcy's videos. And
Yeah.
I know his next video, it ain't just gonna be a video, it's gonna be a movie. I mean, come on, we should sell tickets. That
Yep. Very, very, very artistic. He was definitely one of my inspirations as well. And I've been fortunate enough, as I believe you are, Ed, to be a friend of his on Facebook.
yes,
And when I first found him on Facebook, I told him that, I contacted him and I said I was starting a channel and I was excited, and he was one of my inspirations. And he wished me well, and he said good luck. He said you'll do fine, and he gave me some advice in a private message. Really nice.
he's a very nice man. I and a good friend of ours and fellow Ohio prospector Tim, Mr. Tim for Gold, and myself, we have both reached out to Darcy about um, someone to make our intros. And actually, the same guy that made Darcy's intro music, uh, we both went through Darcy because we're both admirers of Darcy's work. And Darcy got a hold of, it's in the description who it's credited to, Wildman DeLuke or something like that. Um, but he actually turned us on to this guy, and he made my In the Shed with Ed soundtrack and my Flash in Your Pan soundtrack. Um,
Okay, okay.
and Mr. Tim for Gold, uh, his intro music soundtrack. So, Darcy has touched the mining community globally in more ways than I think he has even fathomed. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree completely. Super nice guy. Really, really, he really makes it look easy, and I think that says a lot. When you
yeah, it's I
Especially when you know it's not that easy. But
no.
it's not easy at all.
There's one time I had over like 35 hours of editing in a video and I still wasn't happy with it. And that will never happen again, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. I got some finds here I can show you guys if you want me to.
Oh,
yeah.
treasure porn, everybody, treasure porn.
I can break up the video a little bit. I was going to show some of the viewers. This is one of those ironstones that I find out in the desert. I'm trying to make sure I got a good one in the camera here. This is a ironstone, and
Scratch it, it might be a nugget.
Recently, if you go to my channel, the channel trailer is me asking a geologist about these ironstones. And I got a short little video there asking for some expert advice or expert opinions about these ironstones. And what I have learned is that these formed very much like gold. They're just on a lot bigger scale. From what I have learned from some knowledgeable people who've contacted me is that this is essentially just like a big gold nugget. They formed in very much the same way. This at some point in time was a big vein of iron, just like
Right.
gold, except when gold, gold is only a tiny little sliver.
It is now.
Right. Because of the amount of iron, apparently this was a vein that through different geologic forces was broken out of the vein and then tumbled to give it this nugget looking shape, just like what happens to placer gold. But the area that I find this in now doesn't have any evidence. I can't find any evidence of water that caused the nugget shape of it. But this is a big ironstone. This probably weighs 9 or 10 pounds. And there's a lot of these out there, just beautiful, very unique. They look like meteors, or they look like, I thought they were nuggets. I mean, I thought they were volcanic. I thought they were shot out of volcanoes because of the way that they are smooth, like this. They look like they cooled like in the air as they were being shot out of a volcano or something. Anyway, this is an ironstone I was going to show you guys.
Well, placer chasers, like iron's atomic number is 26, while gold is 79, pretty far away. But our good friend Placer Chaser, have you ever heard gold rides an iron horse? And so keep that in mind. And even here, what's our indicator? Our heavies, which iron's a big part of that.
Yeah,
Iron
this is a nice piece of white quartz from that same area. So I'm trying to get the camera here. There we go.
Oh, that's nice.
Beautiful piece of white quartz. There's a lot of it out there. And you got quartz, you got iron, there's a little bit of greenstone, you got all the different components there, and then there might be a little tiny bit of gold because it's so rare.
There might be a big old piece in there too. There might be a vein that you can't see on the outside. You never know.
That's right.
You could be holding,
Sonic the Hedgehog
of gold in that piece of quartz there and not even know it. Would that suck?
Yeah. I have a hot rock that I haven't broken open yet, but it's kind of like, I think it might be a high grade silver ore. I think there is some gold in it. I looked at it with a loupe and I think I can see some specks of gold. But what you have in this other rock is, in this hot rock that I found, like in this area here, it's all kind of black. It's kind of like black. It looks like a metal, it looks like metal in the rock. It's kind of a blackish, and you can see some little specks of gold in the black. And this is the only rock that I've ever found it's more than a hot rock. It's a screaming. On one side of the rock, I run my detector and it screams like I'm on an aluminum can or something like that. Other side of the rock, it's not quite so hot. But in an upcoming video, I'm going to break that rock open and I'm going to see what the hell's inside it. I've had it for a couple years at least.
Crush it.
I wouldn't have had it that long.
Bill Marsh, Ohio Relic Hunter, has Aaron ever thought about getting the Falcon MD20 to test those rock samples for gold?
I know what the Falcons are, and I think they're great tools. Yeah, one of those would be really great. One of those would help.
Wouldn't a pinpointer pick it up if there was gold in it?
Uh, depends on the pinpointer and the size of the amount. They're not made for gold,
That's
where the Falcon MD20
Right.
is made and it picks up gold like the Monster 1000 does, small gold. And
Very, very small gold. Yeah. Yeah. The MD20 would be great for something like that. The rock that I mentioned before, the big hot rock that I have, I don't have it with me. It's kind of a gray quartz. And the cool thing about it is that my dad and I were on a hike. We were looking for a meteor, and we were pretty far. We were a couple miles away from the road end. He was following a Google image that he saw on Google Earth, and we were near the top. We were near the crest of this mountain out in the desert. And the cool thing is that if I find something good in that rock, there isn't a lot of ground uphill from where I was. So there's not a whole lot of space left to travel wherever, because I found that rock in a small creek bed and I know exactly where it was. So my hope is that even if it's high grade silver ore, that'll be freaking awesome. And I can crush that up and I can, do some smelting. I've never really done any smelting yet. So, but the really cool thing about it is that not only do I know exactly where I found the rock, but there's not a lot of ground uphill from where it would have come from.
So you think it's silver, huh?
I think it's mostly silver. Yeah, I think it's.
You said it was black or gray?
oh,
Blackish
Kind of
gray.
like
black
gunmetal gray.
would make you think it's
Yeah,
silver, a tarnish.
That sounds like silver.
Yeah.
I've seen raw silver. It's kind of like a gunmetal gray. It's a really dark gray, but
I have not done any hard rock mining really to speak of, but the rock itself, it has fractures, and in those fractures, just like you would imagine, it almost looks like putty. Like
right.
It's like putty that's filled in the cracks, but it's rock like, and it's black, and like I said, I've looked at it and I've seen some little specks of gold, but they're very small. It's definitely not that much gold. It's mostly probably
Silver. Right. That's that, and you'll usually find those two together, especially out west. Yeah, it's.
I'm hoping to do a whole series of videos on cracking that rock open, showing it with my detector, showing how it's a screamer on the cracking it open, and then figuring out what's in it, and then going back to the location and back, if I have to, backpacking out a lot more of the busting out a lot more of the vein, and because there's really nothing back there. There's a big mine that's probably 2 miles away to the south that was a gold, was a silver. It was primarily gold and silver back in early 1900s. So where I'm actually at there, I'm hoping to do a series on that location right there, and I want to do the smelting and the whole, with the flux and the little kilns and all that. It's going to be pretty fun.
That's that. I got Ed's little kiln that he let me use. My concern is I just know that the first few tries I'm gonna screw stuff up.
That's the only way we learn, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta be willing to miss a little or lose a little.
I'll get some scrap silver and melt that down. I'm not gonna mess with my gold.
Yeah.
Actually, anything big you want to keep in its natural anyway. It's worth more.
I was talking about junk silver, going
Oh.
silver.
Okay.
Till I get the hang of this thing.
Right. Yeah, you
Have
got
you
experiment a
used
little
it at
before
all
trying it.
yet?
What?
Have you used it at all yet?
No, I'm still working in my bathroom. Hey, dude, look, I got a
Well, I
bum,
know
dude.
when you had my rock crusher, you were
I
gonna
used it.
use that. Oh, you did end up using it.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I used it.
I thought maybe you meant to use it and
No,
you
I
set
used
it
it.
in your
I
shed or
crushed up some
something.
rocks. Didn't find no gold, but I crushed up some rocks.
Okay,
Is
right
that a
on.
is that a two-torch kiln?
Yes,
Yes.
it's a quick kiln, two-torch kiln.
Yeah, those are neat. Those are neat. I like that. I really want to get into in the future. I really want to get into smelting and shoot, I forgot his name. There's a guy who makes jewelry. He's been doing placer gold mining for probably, I don't know, 20 years, 25 years, and he makes great jewelry. He does he's a really he does a lot of rings. He does a lot of watch bands and things like
Bob
that.
McCoy.
And, what's that?
Bob McCoy.
No.
No. Who else? Who else? Oh,
There's quite a
Dopey
few
does.
YouTubers
When
now.
I think his name is Steve Wendt.
Steve Wenz. WENZ.
No, I think it's WENDT. Anyway, he's an artist. He makes jewelry he makes custom jewelry for. I'm looking it up here. Maybe if I'm right. I like to get into that kind of thing. That's intriguing to me as well. The smelting, even silver. I like the idea of, I don't know, out in Vegas, somewhere around Las Vegas, maybe some of the people in their chat know, or maybe you guys know, out in the Vegas area, there are areas where you can find placer silver.
Right.
I believe it.
Oh yeah. Steve Wendt. WENDT.
Okay, that's the guy I was trying to think of. Yeah, he makes
Beautiful jewelry.
watches, beautiful stuff, and a lot of it in the beginning, a lot of it was gold that he mined, and then he also nowadays people send him gold and he'll make a couple wedding bands or whatever they want.
Cool.
But anyway, I love that kind of thing. I'm really interested in doing that with gold and silver. Platinum would be great as well. You just got to find it. I mean,
Yeah, he was doing stuff with quartz and gold, making cabochons out of slabs of quartz and gold. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron, we're 2 hours and 15 minutes into the show, roughly. Why don't we show your website a little, and we'll take them through your website. I have it up now so they can see it if you want to talk about it and kind of lead me through it a little.
Okay, well, it's a website I did recently. Previously, I had another website, which was I did it mostly because it was free. It was a free website, and then I found out later that because it was a free website, it was not secured.
Right.
So I had a shop on that other website, and because I learned how meaningful it is to have a secured website for transactions, this one came about, and it's a pretty simple website. It has some stories about where how I got started and what is our mission, and people can check it out. It's pretty easy to read. I believe it is. If you look down on the lower left, there's a yellow translate button. So it's translated into, like, you can translate that website into like 36 different languages real easy. So I know we're on a delay, so I'm kind of watching your video, but it's a little bit late. Yeah, there's a translate button there, and
I'm so confused.
Oh, I hear you.
it's pretty neat because people around the world can get it translated into their language. And I have a let me bring it up here on my page.
Well, right now I'm on your blog.
Okay, good. Okay. The blog, I've got different categories. This year, upcoming this year, I'm going to start doing some beach detecting. In my prospecting and mining and metal detecting career, if you want to call it that, I have done quite a bit of beach detecting. I enjoy the beach detecting probably the most, and I have some finds here I can show you guys. In my blog, I talk about beach detecting. I talk about placer. I talk about mountain placer. I'm going to be doing some mountain placer coming up. Most of you guys know I've done plenty of desert work, but I need to get into the mountains. I need to do some sniping. I need to do some crevicing. Like I said earlier in the video, I have a wetsuit now and a weight belt, so I can get in the rivers and I can really go after some of that sniping gold and you know, that kind of thing. So I'll be talking more about the mountain placer gold, and then later in the year I'm going to be doing some meteorite hunting.
Well, that'd be cool.
Learning. Yeah, I'm hoping to do some meteorite trips, some camp outs, do some meteorite hunts. And I have not yet found a meteorite, so I'm going to be learning about it. I'm going to be talking about the different types of meteorites and the composition and how to identify them and the whole thing, all about meteorites, because I'm fascinated by them, and I want to do that, you know, in the known strewn fields out in the west here, and then, you know, other places too. And that's going to be kind of wrapping up this year. Beach detecting, mountain placer. I need to find some areas in California, in Northern California, in Idaho, Montana. I'm open to suggestions. You know, I need to find some places where I can go and I can securely park my vehicle and hike a couple miles in, camp overnight, camp for a couple nights, do some prospecting, and then maybe bring in some larger equipment, you know, after I do some prospecting. And I've got a lot of links on the website. I'm trying to follow Ed along here.
Plans and projects next.
Yeah, I got plans for the future. You know, I want to have I want to grow, and I want to have the operations where I start using some larger machinery. For starters, I want to start getting some machinery that I can feed with a skidster or a bobcat, and scale up the equipment, scale up my whether it's for dry placers in the desert or for mountain placers. Probably going to be Arizona, Nevada, Idaho, Montana, because of California, because, you know, they just suck on the regulations. So I need to be able to have larger plants, larger operations, so I can move more material, get a better recovery. You know, I can't kill myself with a shovel, you know, unless it's rich enough. So anyway, that's going to be down, you know, that's down the road, kind of in a big way. That's down the road. But I do have some plans and some projects I want to work on in the future. I want to try to get other people involved and be, you know, participants and that kind of thing, so that my goal is that we can sort of do it so that there's a lot of camaraderie and people can join me, and we can get out there and do it together and, you know, hang out and spend time together and work together. You can't do it on your own. You know, you got to have friends and partners and people who want to help you.
Well,
want to get
speaking
involved.
of friends, let's explore your YFRC page. You know.
Yeah.
I know there's a few of them in here, and they're both of our friends. And why don't you talk about a little of the YFRC?
Yeah, you bet. After being on YouTube for about 6 months, I realized that there was a lot of what I call hit and run commenters or hit and run subscribers. And, you know, people who just pop in on your channel and they leave a comment, subscribe to your channel, and then you never hear from them again. And so I decided I got tired of trying to like go fishing for subscribers, go fishing for comments. I got tired of that because it was like it didn't seem like a lot of people wanted to reciprocate, you know, back and forth. So I started the YouTube Friends Ratings Club as a way to meet some people who would back and forth, you know, subscribe to my channel, I subscribe to your channel, leave comments on my channel, I leave comments on your channel, you know, just kind of a back and forth sort of help each other out cooperative goal, you know. And I wanted to meet people who had the same kind of goal. There's a lot of small channels. I'm a very small channel. There's a lot of small channels where YouTube can seem like a pretty lonely place when you put out a video and, you know, you get 20 views in a week. You know, you put a lot of time and effort and planning and everything into the videos. And so I wanted a way for us to kind of create a little community where we could help each other. And so that's why the YouTube Friends Ratings Club, that's how that began. And what I started doing was I started noticing some people who seemed to be friendly on YouTube. And I just would ask them, hey, do you want to join this group? I've started this group. Basically, we leave comments we comment back and forth and on our channels to help each other out. And that's how the club started. And we've got about 15 or 16 members right now. And basically that's it. We leave a like and we leave a comment on each other's videos, and we do the same back and forth. And it's free. It's open to anybody around the world. You don't have to have a gold or a prospecting channel. You don't have to have a metal detecting channel. We welcome all channels as long as you're friendly, as long as your content is pretty much family friendly, advertiser friendly. You know, we don't want any of the violence or disgusting crap that's on YouTube. You know, we just want it to be kind of family friendly stuff. And so
right, and I know through experience that the camaraderie isn't just in comments. There's actually email exchange and the tight-knit community within it. And last but not least, you have your store. And I know I've given away some of your Paydirt before. But what's this? What's this I see?
I've got a new item on the store. It's for the flash in your pan, folks. Are you still there, Jess?
Jesse.
Yes.
He's there.
Is Jesse there?
Yeah, he's there.
I'm here.
Jesse, I didn't get a chance at the beginning of the show. I wanted to thank you. You came in later. I wanted to thank you for having me on. I appreciate all that you and Dano and Ed do for this channel and for the community. I just wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, no problem.
You're
It's
more
our
than
pleasure.
welcome.
I mean, It's like Ed says, this is the one night of the week that is a very enjoyable night, you know.
Oh,
I actually have others, but
right. I hear you. Like Friday night.
Friday nights, Monday night.
Well,
Wednesday
you're retired. Some of us aren't yet. But
I appreciate what you guys do and your attitude and what you do for the community and all the time that you put into it and everything like that. So I created a listing on my store called, it's one of my Paydirts, it's called Volcanic Desert. And I've got 3 bags for $17.76, and that includes shipping. And those are 1/4 pounder bags. And my Paydirts are different. I've described them in my videos many times, but to make it real brief, my Paydirts and my concentrates from dry washing are similar in that they are unsearched, they're unwashed, they're legit from the areas where I go to. But because the Paydirts are not concentrates, they're only a 1/4 pound, I add a little bit of placer gold to each bag to make sure that there's some placer gold in the bag, right?
Yeah.
My concentrates are different because they're concentrates. It's like, I don't know, it's a 1/2 or 3/4 of a wheelbarrow run through my dry washer, concentrated down to the heavier elements. So hopefully there's some gold in those. I don't salt those. I don't put any gold in the concentrates, but I do put a little bit of gold in each one of the 1/4 pounder bags. And they're a kind of a nice size. They fit in the palm of your hand. Ed, you can probably, if you click on that, if you click on the item, Ed, you'll see some other photographs, and you can see some of the photos of the bag. They're about, I don't know, 5 inches long, or, oh, you guys have seen it on your show before.
yeah, I'll actually show one here in
I
a
have,
little
but
bit.
I never get to see your bags. Or he gives them away before I even get a chance to see them. So
Yeah. Some photos of the bags. They're kind of a nice size because you can just dump one in a 10-inch pan.
I'm gonna have to order one.
You can just dump the whole thing in there. And I'm probably going to be sending Jess and Dano and Ed some care packages for yourself. So
Ooh, cool.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
You heard that, Dano.
Thank you very much.
This is for us, Ed.
I heard him.
It says, but send them to me so I can pick their bigger pieces out before I give it to them.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Hey, this ain't roasted Marvin time.
we can work that out, but I don't know if I should send them to Ed or you guys contact me. If you could put my email, my email up, Ed.
Actually, you can. You're a moderator, so you're able to put it out there along with any links also.
Our buddy Ray Russo just showed up.
Dano and Jess, you guys could send me an email, and then I could just ship it directly to you.
That'd be fine with me.
That'd be fine too.
I'll say it's however you want to do it. We trust Ed. We just give him a hard time.
We just mess with him.
He's
Yeah.
our buddy.
I know.
Ed, let me tell you about Ed. Ed was one of the things that got me involved in this lifestyle. Gave me this bad habit. Watched some of his in the shed videos, and then I met the
habit.
Yeah. Then I met him, and he says, "Hey, you need to be on my videos." No.
And look where you are now.
Look where I am on his videos.
Sucker.
You can find my email on my website as well, and also on my YouTube channel. My email is not very hard to find, but it's in the chat as well right now.
Yeah, I
and
see it.
I'm going to send you guys a care package. Hang on a minute. I'll be right back. I got to show you something on the camera here.
Okay.
Oh, I've got it right here. I got it right here. So these are my small Paydirts. These are my 1/4 pounder bags. I've got one that's called Jurassic River.
Must be some old gold, huh?
4 ounce, yeah, 4 ounce bag. I've got the Liberty River, which has a little live free or die.
Yes. Yes.
Gadsden, what's that? The snake on it, the Gadsden snake. Or I've got the volcanic desert.
We actually have coins with that on it.
Yes, I love that. It's kind of what I'm all about, liberty.
That's right.
Yep.
And then I'm bringing one of my most popular ones back. It's Area 51.
Oh.
Ooh, Area 51. Nice.
Yeah, that's a completely different type of material. This is a cooperic soil. I forget how you say that. It's got a copper. The actual earth has a copper content. So it's actually kind of a green because of the Area 51, you know? So
Right.
I'm going to send you guys a set of those bags and some of my concentrates from dry washing for you guys to play with.
Oh,
Having me
cool.
on your show.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Thanks very much.
thank you very much, Aaron. That will come in handy this winter.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
I'll have a bunch of material that I can pan out. That's cool.
We get these towels done. We'll have to send him a towel or two.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. I'm going to keep
Fair
that.
play, my friend.
I'm
We
going
have-
to keep that Flash Fam special. I'm going to keep that on my store for a while. I think I put 12 in the quantity, but I can change that. And anyway, I'll probably keep that up there for a while. I might even do something in the future where for every 5 sold, I send Ed a bag of concentrates or something like that. I don't know yet. But
Oh, I
Ed and
like that. So if you all buy 15, there'll be enough for all of us.
Or we could use some of those for giveaways. That's fine too.
There you go.
Yeah.
I used to, when I first started selling Paydirts, I sold 2-pound bags. And the reason behind that was they were unsearched raw, not concentrates. They were Paydirts from these areas. And I figured the larger bag there'd be a better chance to find some more gold and some more undiscovered gold, right? So I had these 2-pound bags, but I got a lot of complaints because people were saying that, well, they didn't understand that it cost $8 to ship one of those bags. You know, so,
Hey, Aaron,
you know,
is that a proper email address?
let me check here.
Wait a minute.
It's GTAO at protonmail.com.
Huh. I just tried to send that to you. I pasted it. GTAO at protonmail.com.
Perfect. That's it. Yeah.
But it says address is the in the two field is not valid. Please try again. Let me see if I write it down instead of copying and paste.
I'll say maybe you didn't have it quite right there, buddy.
I copied and pasted, dude. What more can I,
All right, that's my back.
Yeah, I'm doing what,
I've got some. So that's kind of the store there. I've got a bunch of different items in my store, and I use the proceeds to help put gas in the tank and make more trips and, get tools and, that kind of thing. So I'm just trying to, like I was telling Ed yesterday when we talked, from the beginning, I've kind of been on a shoestring budget, and I have not yet found a big chunk of gold or a big crack or a crevice, or I gotta keep on the hunt, or I won't find that. So I just have to keep going. And so the store came about, and that's how it kind of came about.
Yeah, it worked. I don't know what was up, but I wrote it in instead of copying it, pasting it.
User error.
Yeah.
User error.
Hey,
Okay.
Ed, I've got some. Was there anything else you wanted to go over on the website?
Whatever you want. It's your show tonight, brother.
I think that's pretty much it. There's also, I do have a Patreon page, and I also have a Subscribe Star page, which are where supporters can actually go and contribute $1. You guys all know.
Well,
these are all-
you can find all those on his channel if when he types in the room again, hover over his name. There'll be 3 bullets to the right. You click on those and you can go to his channel. It will open up a new tab. And in the upper hand on his banner, right where my cursor is now, if you can see it, it has his website, it has his Subscribe Star, it has his Patreon, his Instagram, and his Twitter. So you could check out any of those. And if you're, and thank you very much, Mr. Bob Drake, for the $5 super chat. So if you feel like supporting Aaron in his quest for gold and furthering education and everything about that, what he does on his channel, all the links are right there.
Yeah, yep. Also, Ed, I do have some finds from detecting that we can go through tonight if you guys are, maybe there's other questions, or if Jess or Dano have any questions or whatever you want to do. I can stay longer if you want, or we can wrap it up and I can come back at another time and look at the detecting stuff, you know, whatever you guys want to do, I'm good.
I don't have any questions at this point.
Actually,
I'm looking though, see if anybody's got some.
I had questions earlier. In there.
I would just read the comment here. Our buddy Bill, the comedian.
Hi, Victoria. Vicky's in the house.
Yeah. I see our buddy Ronald showed up from Earth Radio.
Yeah, he was on earlier.
He's been here for a while.
All right.
I think it would be helpful for me to mention one more thing about the YouTube Friends Ratings Club, the YFRC. Like I was saying before, there's a lot of good people out there. As you guys know, there's a lot of good people out on YouTube. There's a lot of good channels. There's a lot of friendly people. And I didn't really meet a lot of those people until I started that club. And anybody who's interested in joining that YouTube Friends Ratings Club, we have a great group of channels. And I just wanted to tell, I can't go down the whole list of the channels that we have right now. There's about 15 channels in the club. But I just wanted to tell those people that it's been really great having them as friends, because I've got a good friend in Tasmania. I got a good friend in Germany. There's a new guy who just joined us from Switzerland. There's guys in Vermont. There's people out here on the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest.
Speaking of a guy in Vermont, there's a question from one. Green Mountain Gold Trap asks, when is Aaron going to do a 6-hour run in the dry washer and send it to Vermont for a go in a cleanup sluice? Sorry, Aaron, I just had to do that.
That's all right. If the last video that I did, I think, was my longest video. It was about 51 minutes long, and in that video, I know it's crazy long, and I edited it, and I edited the video, and
Sometimes
just
you just can't get them that short.
you know, one of my most viewed videos is like 48 minutes long, you know. So
Wow.
I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna make it the way I feel is right. And
That's what you got to do.
yeah, so it's like over 50 minutes long, and in that one, I panned out a big long run like Joseph is talking about, and maybe I'll do something like that, like Joseph is talking about, make some kind of prize, you know, half gallon of concentrates or something like that.
That'd
Maybe
be
I'll
cool.
send it, something like that. It's,
Yeah.
you know, I just, you don't know what's in that, you know, I don't know what's in that material. So the law of averages works out, and usually, you know, I don't recover a whole lot of gold on any of my trips. I think my biggest clean out one time was just under a gram, and that was
Nice.
not from the last trip, that was from a previous trip. And so, you know, it was a gram of gold, but there's a lot that goes into that. That goes into those trips, that goes into the gas and the energy and camping and food. And
Hey, we know. Trust me, we know. Drive halfway
For-
across
for-
the country for maybe a half a gram.
Yeah. But you know,
Yeah.
it's the hunt, the real gold's the people you meet.
Right.
Yes, some might say it's all about the gold, but the gold is not always AU.
That's right. That's right.
The gold is like Vicky and Dano and Ronald and Jesse Mendez and
I was wondering when he was going to get to me.
and HD Shovelhead and Judy and Top Cat, David
Ronald,
Villa.
Ronald, Earth Radio, he's a good buddy too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very true, Ed. That's very true. And that's one of the heartwarming things about that club and people like you, that, you know, it's just great meeting good people that I feel like if I come visit you, like, you know, we really know each other, you know, and we're on the same page. You know?
Right.
Yeah. I have to say, I've said it many times, Aaron. Tuesday is by far my favorite night. I'm with two of my best friends, Dano and Jesse. They're also my digging partners. I trust them with my life. And I'm with a great community. And I just like sharing our lifestyle to the world while building a global community of friends. And I hope they feel the same way, because we don't call them Flash Fam for nothing. And that was
Right.
coined by my friend Professor Nez, professor at Fullerton College. I believe it's Fullerton College, but he's an OC resident. He coined the term Flash Fam, and I took it.
I like it a lot. I got something I wanted to show you guys that I'm pretty proud of. Back in February, March of 2016, in the pick and shovel, where are we at here? Pick and shovel. I was fortunate enough to have GPAA put my letter. You can see that.
Yeah, I see it. Hold still.
There we go.
Open letter to Congress.
I wrote an open letter to Congress, and I read it to my club. I read it to one of my local clubs. It's in the February and March 2016 issue of the Pick and Shovel, and I read it to one of my clubs, and I asked if I could get signers, if they would sign the letter and they would put their name and address and zip code so that I could send it off to the Congress people that represented us. And the response was really, really great. And I had like over 200 signatures. And I went around to the Hammett Club. No, I don't know if I went to the Hammett Club. I went around to the Temecula Club and the San Diego Club and maybe the Hammett Club, I'm not sure. But I had about over 200 signatures, and then the GPAA put this letter in the pick and shovel. And I just wrote a letter to Congress. This was before President Trump, as you all are aware. But I was trying to do my part. This was back when the Reinhardt thing was still
Right. It was still hot and heavy.
still hot and all that and everything. And I got a really good response. A lot of people really liked the letter. They agreed with it. They signed it. They put their zip code down on there. And I just got a good response from that. And I'm proud of the fact that it was nice of the GPAA to put that in there. I think Brad Jones was mostly responsible for doing that because
Yeah.
I had met him on that bus ride. So I
Right.
just wanted to share that with everybody. So,
The GPA definitely has its place. And even with all their downfalls and changes in the last couple years, they still have their place. Any newcomer, I would recommend joining them and a local chapter. It opens doors. The people that I've met are very friendly and kind. But one thing anyone new to the lifestyle needs to understand, the prospecting community is very small and word travels fast and trust is a must. So don't bite the hand that feeds you, so to speak. And if you keep their trust and be a true friend, you'll have a great community behind you. And that goes for any club in general, from Ohio Prospectors to Washington State Miners and Prospectors to Valley Prospectors and Mojave Prospectors and the Hemet Prospectors. Hemet's hotter than hell. Hemet's heaven, but hotter than hell. Prospectors. You know what I mean.
yeah. Well, not much came about from the letter, and I never even heard back from the majority of the representatives. But that's what happens nowadays, and for a lot of decades.
Right. Well, even though you don't hear back from them, they do see that letter, and to them, one letter represents 1,000 people.
Right.
That's what I understand.
Yeah. So the more people that send that same letter or letters like that, the more they'll start looking at it. You doing that one is great, and everybody should maybe copy it and send it to them too. But that's what it's going to take. It's going to take a lot more than just one person, unfortunately. But it takes one person to start.
Well, there's a lot of clubs like Washington Miners and Prospecting Association, a very good club that I used to belong to back home in Washington, along with the Bedrock Prospectors in Puyallup. What they'll do is they keep a very close eye on what's going on at the state capitol. And when there's a bill being presented that negatively affects the community, it's instantly, I mean, really quickly, letters drawn out, distributed. You're asked to either print it off on PDF from a PDF file on a website. Back in the old days, you'd pick them up at the meetings or get them mailed to you, and then you would sign it and send it on off to the state capitol. And through those, we have kept a lot of things in our favor in legislation in Washington. But it's a fight. It's an everyday fight, just like it is for our rights. And one thing I've come to learn from being in the prospecting community, it has a way of lifting blinders off to what powers to be may be doing to whittle away your rights. So it's just little food for thought there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're supposed to have the ability to redress the government with our grievances. And the fact that I had over 200 people sign that, not only with their zip code and all that crap, because you just can't have people just sign it. The representative has to be able to identify that they actually are their constituent. And then I looked up the constituents for those different zip codes, and I sent everybody who was a representative a copy of the letter. And then I went to like the Natural Resource Senate Committee chairman or whoever these yahoos were, and I sent them all copies of it too. It was all certified mail and all that crap. And see, the thing is that we're supposed to have redress for our grievances. They're supposed to give us answers, but a lot of times they don't, as you guys know.
Right.
They just give you some kind of form letter. Oh yeah, we feel your pain.
Blah, 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 blah.
You know, and the thing is that that's not redress of my grievances when they do that. And they do
Right.
it all the time, you know.
Right.
It takes somebody like you almost have to have a full-time job of doing that kind of crap, because
And even then it's hard. Look at Shannon Poe, pretty much his full-time job now, and he still struggles.
and that guy's about as smart as they come, you know. And you know, so you have to be like in a position like Shannon Poe is, where he's dedicated, and then like you said, still they thumb their nose at you because we don't really have the
money.
The people have, well, we don't have the power like we should.
Right.
You know, they should be at our beck and call because they represent us. Instead, we're way down on the list, you know, and that's just,
Well, that's
Well, they look at us more like subjects now,
right.
and not their bosses.
That's why I think one of the things that we can do to help us is to include other outdoor activity people, include the hikers, include the skiers.
Well, we tried doing that in Washington with 4x4 groups, off-road vehicle groups, ATVers, fishermen, and they pretty much said, yeah, okay, they're not going to come after us. Now they're coming after them.
Right.
And eventually it'd be the fishermen too. And we did that for decades and decades, where a lot of times it's the hikers and the Sierra Clubbers and the Trout Unlimited and the Pheasant Unlimited. Unfortunately, a lot of those good-hearted outdoorsmen type people, male or female, are led astray of what they're actually doing in the headquarters, because they usually lobby with the extreme environmentalists like Sierra Club and some others.
Right. Well, they got a lot, again, they have a lot of money backing them up. And let's face it, in government, that's what it takes to get stuff done.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Fortunately, yeah. See, so, like Ed was saying earlier, he pushes the lifestyle thing. I push the show your junk. I push show your if you do reclamation, if you're doing videos, show
Show
that
it.
stuff.
Yes.
Show it.
Show the
truck
trash
before.
you're taking out.
My
Like,
mother just did a short video of everything we found at the outing.
yes,
Yeah.
he did. I just saw that.
Who did?
Ed,
Other Ed.
HD
Oh,
Shovel
did he?
Ed.
Cool. Oh yeah, I know. I can see that.
And
Joseph from Green Mountain Gold Trap just recently showed one where he showed all the crap he was taking out, and several of my other friends are doing that as well. And I've been taking pictures of the lead. Usually when I go metal detecting, I hunt for gold and I find lead. And now
yeah,
I've decided to
Well, maybe you should start hunting for lead.
That's right. So now I'm going to hunt for lead and maybe I'll find some gold.
There you go.
I
Well,
always take
and
pictures of lead,
And then for us YouTubers doing that, whenever we see videos like that, we need to share those videos on your Facebook everywhere. When you see somebody showing, the cleanup and that reclamation and that stuff, start showing that stuff. It's great that we video it, YouTube it and all that.
Right.
But it needs to be shared. So when you guys, and I'm talking to everybody in the chat room and whoever listens to this later, when you guys see those types of videos, share them out.
That's true.
Share them out.
And like when we do the Boy Scout painting demos, when we do it, we take buckets of trash and pile it and show them kids so they understand.
and we have it in a tub, and they're like, "Where'd this come from?" And we go, "We pack that out of rivers, swimming holes, and whatnot." Like Jason from Flower Gold Wizard, Yeah, I like his phrase, "Get the lead out." And
Yeah, that's very true. Not only do it and show it, but share it. Share it like you said. I think that's a good point. I just recently watched HD Shovel Ed's, and I watched Joseph's video as well. I didn't share them, and I should have. That's a really good point, because a lot of times you don't think about that particular point of it. You're seeing it, we're congratulating, we're thanking each other, but our friends don't necessarily see that. And I think that's a pretty powerful.
Right.
Well,
right.
let alone our
that's,
friends.
it's great that we put those out there, but we need to share them out.
Even other general public,
Right.
Like my profile, like on Facebook, is public. Anyone could see it. So,
Same here.
So if no matter where you share it, as long as you're sharing it, more people that shares it, it's like the hair shampoo commercial. You tell two friends and they tell two friends, and so on and so on and so on.
I always tag my grandson.
I got something to show you talking about that, guys. This is mostly bronze or brass. I guess it's brass. This is mostly brass from
casings.
Mostly casings from metal detecting. Usually I put them in a small container like this. Usually I find a lot of shells and lead, shells and slugs. Don't find a whole lot of gold metal detecting, but also I put them in small ones like this, and then I put the better finds in larger ones like this. This is a tub of metal detecting finds here. A lot of clad and a lot of trash and a lot of lead. A lot of lead. Lead has a similar sound on my detector as a large gold nugget. So I find a lot of lead like that, and nobody's paying. California calls all that stuff hazardous waste material or whatever it is. It's a poison, I'm out there digging it up out of the ground, on my own. Nobody's paying me to do that. The state's not paying me, and anyway, people should see that kind of stuff.
Well, if you submit it to the right people, you might be able to get a grant. All right.
I've been trying to figure out a way to do that here in Ohio, because I live by the Maumee River, and there's tons of lead in that river.
Oh yeah, and big sinkers. I could make scuba diving weights out of that.
Right.
Heck
You
yeah,
know,
you could. And walleye
Uh,
fishermen lose that stuff by the tons.
Dude,
well, it's like the salmon rivers out in the
right?
Pacific Northwest. You know, there's been rivers where dredgers have pulled out buckets and buckets and buckets of lead. And
I've seen
geez,
that.
holy
Yeah, I
holy
think Shannon
cow.
did a video on 3 picnic tables full of lead they pulled out in one session. Was it one session? I think
Yeah.
it was a bunch of miners out there dredging before they got rid of the dredging law out in California. He filled up the top of 3 picnic tables
And
full of lead.
I've seen videos and pictures of unfortunately I haven't seen nothing from those YouTubers for a long time, but they would show everything they pulled out of certain holes areas, you know, from chairs, glasses, you know, oars, you name it. They pulled the stuff out of some of these plunge holes and stuff. And it's amazing what is down there. Look at some of our friends. I'm surprised he hasn't come in. But our friend Jeremy from Exploring with the Nug and our friend Mr. Lysick from Adventures with Purpose, what they do scuba diving. They comb the rivers and swimming holes and they pick up trash. I tell them one day, you know, if you're in the right area and you're fanning for something like iPhone or something, one day you're gonna be fanning and you might as well be sniping because you're gonna uncover a nugget. So
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Aaron, it's
Yep.
11 o'clock. I personally have to wake up at 5 in the morning.
It's 11 o'clock.
I really appreciate you coming on tonight. And I definitely hope you come back in the future. I've been after you for a while to come on, and I'm glad you finally did. And my invitation still goes out to all the members of the YFRC, especially the ones in our community. If you would like to be a guest on the show, please get a hold of me. Tazzy Adventures, Brad, I wink wink, hint hint, or several others, you know. Yes, you, M&M Prospecting and HD Shovelette. You also.
Was Mike here?
He was.
Oh.
He might not be now. He was earlier. If they watch later, they'll
There's
get
a
it.
lot of good. There's a lot of really good people in that club, and I'm honored to have them as friends. And I hope that in the future, one of my goals with my channel is that I'm able to travel around and spend some time with each of these people and their families at the location wherever they are. Germany. Hey, who doesn't want to go to Tasmania? You know.
Oh, I'll get there someday before I die, I hope.
You know, so that's been one of the goals with the channel, is that do some kind of a trip where I go around and spend some time and do what they do with them, make a video about it, make a vlog about it, you know, that kind of thing. But anyway, you guys are great. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Make sure that I get an email from Dano and Jesse. And
I said it.
I said it.
I sent it.
I'd be
Already
happy
done. I
I'd
wanted
be
to make
happy
sure it
come-
worked.
I'd be happy to come back, and thank you very much, guys. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for
Ray
being here.
Rusa,
Lot of
thank you
good
very
information.
much. Pardon me, Jesse. Sorry, Aaron. Ray Rusa, thank you very much for the
Oh, hey.
501 super chat. It's greatly appreciated, my friend. And all of you out there in the Flash fam, thank you very much for being part of our family here. Aaron, again, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Yes, it was fun.
guys,
Even though I was here late.
It's all right. You still made it, buddy.
Yeah, I made
That's
it.
right. Thank you very much, Jesse. Thank you very much, Dano. And you two make are a huge part of us, and you know that. So
It's
that's
our
right,
effort together
Barry.
that gets her done, buddy.
You bet.
LBPA
Thanks.
forever.
Yeah,
Thanks to
we'll be at Gold Rush days. I'll be there Saturday.
Yep, I'll be there all
Thanks.
weekend.
And so will I,
Thanks.
Josh.
Hey, I wanted to thank the people who joined us in the chat and the show. I noticed I got like at least a few new subscribers from your show. I'm going to be subscribing back to all those people. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it, and your questions, and that was awesome.
Nice meeting you, Aaron.
Yes.
You too, guys.
Yes, definitely. Thank you again, Aaron. And stay in touch, or I'll stay in touch with you regardless. And
Maybe it's one of those things. We might come visit you. We're going to try to go to California next year here.
Yeah, that's our ultimate goal, is be able to go out and prospect all over the country, you know.
a lot like yours, you know. And
I hope in the future to have some larger scale operations, and I could have people come join me and work together. You know,
that would be fun.
Like I said, you know, if you got a Bobcat, you got a wash plant, there's two people right there, you know. So
Yeah.
anyway, good times, guys.
All right. Well, thanks for being
stay
here.
on here. I'm going to stay on here, right, Ed? Because we're going to talk afterwards.
we can for a little bit.
I don't mean for long, but I just don't
yeah,
know.
we can. I usually invite our guests to be in a post a little. Dano, Jesse, show your mugs.
All right.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Thank you.
No, Brian, no numbers, dude. No numbers.
No. And you're off anyways, Brian. Way off.
Yeah, you know we don't do that anymore. Everybody out there, thank you very much for joining us tonight. As always, it's a pleasure having you. You know, until next week, we're going to have Chris Ralph with us next week, the associate editor of International California Mining Journal, professional gold prospector, author, and mining engineer, geologist, mining engineer, a man of very many talents, also a fellow YouTuber now. So make sure to join us next week. Until then, may you always have a flash in your pan.
And you know what he's going to say next.
That's right, my brother. Maybe one day too, we'll meet you on the river. Good night, everybody.
Are they gone yet?
No.
Okay. Well, you know, we usually talk a little anyway.
Yeah. See ya, everybody.
4, 3.
Oh, Bob wants his Dano balls.
Yeah.
Oh, your balls are almost globally famous, Dano.
After this Christmas, my balls will be around the globe.
Well, we know the West Coast loves your balls.
Oh, they'll probably.
Not good. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, they're probably gonna demonetize this video just for that.
It's Buckeye balls. I make Buckeye balls for Christmas.
They're chocolate and peanut butter candy.
And us being the crazy little kids we are, you know, we take it to the gutter right away.
What is that? Like, it's like taxidermy?
No, they're chocolate and peanut butter balls. Buckeye balls.
Okay,
Look
okay,
like
okay.
Buckeyes.
Edibles.
Nice, nice. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.